Today we are going to discuss my final books from my last book haul. We are going to do literary fiction and historical fiction. So if that is what you're into, that's what we're doing today. Let's get right into it. Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. As I said, today we're going over literary fiction and historical fiction, the newest books I have in my collection, because we're not doing book hauls in 2025. We're leaving that in 2024. We are reading our shelves next year. So in order to let y'all know all the books that I got this year that I haven't shared, this is what we're doing. Our first book that we have is one that I've seen around quite a bit. Not sure if y'all are familiar, but I think the cover is stunning. And that is Did You Hear About Kitty Karr by Crystal Smith. And this is about when Kitty Karr Tate, a white icon of the silver screen, dies and bequeaths her multi-million-dollar estate to the St. John sisters, three young, wealthy black women, it prompts questions, lots of questions. And so that's what we will be unpacking. Did you hear about Kitty Karr? I'm hoping to get to this one. I'm not making no promises. All right, next up we have Let Us Descend by Jasmine Ward. I have never finished a Jasmine Ward book. I'm hoping that I will be able to finish both books I have by her next year. I've only heard great things. This is a signed copy, and this one is about Let Us Descend is a reimagining of American slavery, as beautifully rendered as it is heart-wrenching, searching, harrowing, replete with transcendent love. The novel is a journey from the rice fields of the Carolinas to the slave markets of New Orleans and into the fearsome heart of a Louisiana sugar plantation. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Slave narratives, the writing can be beautiful, but they are so hard for me to read sometimes. So it takes me a while to get through them, but I am hoping to get to this relatively soon. This is a book that I've started a couple of times and I haven't finished because it's not good. I've just been reading other books, but I really appreciate the writing. I thought it was so good. So I was like, I want to get it because I had been reading it through like ebooks from the library and I never finished in time. And I was like, if I own it, then I don't have to like rush myself to finish. And I got a really good deal on this book during Black Friday. And so it is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, I believe. This says, and y'all have probably heard of it, but we're going to talk about it anyway. When four classmates from a small Massachusetts college moved to New York to make their way, they're broke, adrift, and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition. There is kind, handsome Willem, an aspiring actor, JB, a quick-witted, sometimes cruel Brooklyn-born painter seeking entry to the art world, Malcolm, a frustrated architect at a prominent firm, and withdrawn, brilliant, enigmatic Jude, who serves as their center of gravity. Over the decades, their relationships deepen and darken, tinged by addiction, success, and pride. Yet their greatest challenge, each comes to realize, is Jude himself. By midlife, a terrifyingly talented litigator, yet an increasingly broken man. His mind and body scarred by an unspeakable childhood and haunted by what he fears as a degree of trauma that he'll not only be unable to overcome, but that will define his life forever. This started off really good, so I do hope to get to it early in the new year. Okay, next we have one that I'm so excited about. I've only read one book by this author, but I own almost all of their books. I only don't own the newest one. But their first book, I loved it so much. But this one is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. And this one says, one afternoon, in a town in the southeastern Nigeria, a mother opens her front door to discover her son's body, wrapped in colorful fabric at her feet. What follows is the tumultuous, heart-wrenching story of one family's struggle to understand a child whose spirit is both gentle and mysterious. Raised by a distant father and a compassionate but overprotective mother, Vivek Oji suffers disorienting blackouts, moments of disconnection between self and surroundings. As adolescence leads to adulthood, Vivek finds solace in friendships with the warm, boisterous daughters of the Niger wives, foreign-born women married to Nigerian men. But Vivek's closest bond is with Osita, the worldly, high-spirited cousin whose teasing confidence masks a guarded private life. As their relationship deepens, and Osita struggles to understand Vivek's escalating crisis, the history gives way to a heart-stopping act of violence in a moment of exhilarating freedom. I feel like I read that and still don't fully know what the book is about. So I'm excited to get into it. This one, I've heard so much, mostly good things. Mostly good things. It's a thickie. It's a thickie, but I've never been scared of a thick book. And this is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. This reads, the Barnes family is in trouble. Dickie's once lucrative car business is going under, but Dickie is spending his days in the woods, building an apocalypse-proof bunker with a renegade handyman. His wife, Imelda, is selling off her jewelry on eBay and half-heartedly dodging the attention of fast-talking cattle farmer Big Mike, while their teenage daughter, Cass, properly top of her class, seems determined to binge drink her way through her final exams. As for 12-year-old PJ, he's on the brink of running away. I'm never mad at a family saga, and I hope this lives up to all the hype. This one seems so interesting and edgy. It is Mr. by Guy Gunarathney. It says, who is Yahabaz, revolutionary poet, notorious jihadist, misbegotten son, self-styled idiot boy? When the enigmatic Yaha finds himself languishing in a detention center after fleeing the conflict in Syria, he has many questions to face. Could you fathom? I think that might be really good. This one, y'all are probably familiar with this one. This is My Monticello by Jocelyn Nicole Johnson. If you're not familiar, it says, a young woman descended from Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, driven from her neighborhood by a white militia. A university professor studying racism by conducting a secret social experiment on his own son. A single mother desperate to buy her first home even as the world hurtles toward catastrophe. Each fighting to survive in America. All right, this next one, I think the cover is so interesting in this one. Can you see? It is Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Ogawa. This reads, in the spring of 1972, 12-year-old Tomoko leaves her mother behind in Tokyo and boards a train for Ashiya, a coastal town in Japan, to stay with her aunt's family. Tomoko's aunt is an enigma and an outlier in her working class family, and her magnificent home and handsome foreign husband, the president of a soft drink company, are symbols of that status. The 17 rooms are filled with German-made furnishings, there are sprawling gardens, and even an old zoo where the family's pygmy hippopotamus resides. The family is just as beguiling as their mansion. Tomoko's dignified and devoted aunt, her German great-aunt, and her dashing, charming uncle, who confidently sits as the family's patriarch. At the center of the family is Tomoko's cousin Mina, a precocious, asthmatic girl of 13 who draws Tomoko into an intoxicating world full of secret crushes and elaborate storytelling. Could be really good. This next one is one I've only heard amazing things about, so I have high expectations, though I do try to release those before actually reading the book so as not to disappoint myself. But this is Wandering Souls by Cecile Penn, or Pine. It reads, after the last American troops leave Vietnam, siblings An, Min, and Tan journey to Hong Kong with the promise that their parents and younger siblings will soon follow. But when tragedy strikes, the 3 children are left orphaned, and 16-year-old An becomes the caretaker for her 2 younger brothers overnight. That already sounds really good. So I can't wait to actually get to this one. 2025 is going to be a lit reading year. Pun intended, but also that's just my hope, and I'm putting that into the universe now. Next up, I remember reading the description of this and thinking it was so interesting, but this is Blood Test, a comedy by Charles Baxter. This one is about, in this fresh take on love and trouble in America, Brock Hobson, an insurance salesman and Sunday school teacher and a hilariously relatable protagonist, submits to a predictive blood test. Charles Baxter, a master storyteller, brings us a roller coaster of narrative about the results. From Brock's good-as-gold girlfriend to the macho subcontractor his wife left him for, not to mention his well-raised teenage kids, now exploring sex and sexuality. The secondary characters in Brock's life contribute to the drama, as increasing challenges to his sense of self and purpose crash over him. The final battle, no spoilers, but there is one, couldn't be more delightful, as this bracing novel reminds us to choose the best people to love, accept the ones we love even if we didn't choose them, and love them all well. Cool premise. Next up, oh, I thought this cover was so simplistic, but also just so neat. And it is The Children's Bach by Helen Garner. It says, set in suburban Melbourne in the early 1980s, The Children's Bach centers on Dexter and Athena Fox, their two sons, and the insulated world they've built together. Despite the routine challenges of domestic life, they're largely happy. But when a friend from Dexter's past resurfaces, introduces the couple to the city's bohemian underground. Unbound by routine and driven by desire, Athena begins to wonder if life might hold more for her. And the tenuous bonds that tie the Foxes together start to fray. I think we can all relate to being rebellious teenagers at some point. I know I can. All right, next we have a popular one that needs no introduction, but I shall tell you about it still. That is An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. This one reads, a captivating love story that is also a clear-eyed look at the effects of injustice in contemporary American life. Tayari Jones's novel gorgeously chronicles three people who are bound together and separated by forces beyond their control. A newer one, but it always seemed cool to me whenever I would see it on this website. I was like, I gotta get it. And eventually I got it, and I'm telling y'all about it. That is Land of Love and Drowning by Tiffany Yannick. The description reads, in the early 1900s, the Virgin Islands are transferred from Danish to American rule, and an important ship sinks into the Caribbean Sea. Orphaned by the shipwreck and the death of its doomed captain are two sisters and their half-brother, now faced with an uncertain identity and future. Each is unusually beautiful, and each is in possession of a particular magic that will either destroy or save them. I love the Virgin Islands, whether it's the U.S. Virgin Islands or the British Virgin Islands. I just, been there so many times at this point. We'll be going again soon, and I'm just so interested in how this will all be depicted, so I'm hoping to get to this one soon. All right, next one. I might have been influenced to get this one by others who have raved about it in so many videos that I've seen, and that is His Only Wife by Peace Adzo Medi. This one says, Afi Tekpi is a young seamstress in Ghana. Smart and pretty, she has also been convinced by her mother to marry a man she doesn't know, a wealthy businessman named Eliakim. His family has chosen Afi in the hopes that she will distract him from a current relationship they disapprove of. When Afi is moved from her small hometown to live in Accra, Ghana's gleaming capital full of wealth and sophistication, she is not prepared for the way her life will change. But she has agreed to this marriage in order to give her mother the financial security she desperately needs. And so Afi will see it through. Or must she? I'm trying to release my high hopes and expectations, but I have them. Oh, these next couple by the same author, I've heard great things about by a YouTuber that I think we align in our views for the most part. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that I'll really enjoy them. The first one is The Mountain Sings by Eugene Fan K. Mai. And this one reads, with the epic sweep of Min Lin Ji's Pachinko, or Yagasi's Homegoing, The Mountains Sing tells an enveloping multi-generational tale of the Tran family. Set against the backdrop of Vietnam War, Tran Di Lan, who was born in 1920, was forced to flee her family farm with her 6 children during the land reform as the communist government rose in the north. Years later in Hanau, her young granddaughter, Hyung, comes of age as her parents and uncles head off down to Ho Chi Minh Trail to fight in a conflict that tears apart not just her beloved country, but also her family. Could be great. I think I'm more excited about this one, but I hope they're both really good. This one is Dust Child by Eugene Fan K. Mai. What's stated here is, in 1969, sisters Trang and Kun, desperate to help their parents pay off debts, leave their rural village to work at a bar in Saigon. Once in the big city, the young girls are thrown headfirst into a world they were not expecting. They learn how to speak English, how to dress seductively, and how to drink and flirt, and more, with American GIs in return for money. As the war moves closer to the city, the once innocent Train gets swept up in an irresistible romance with the handsome and kind American helicopter pilot she meets at the bar. That can end well or end horribly, and we'll see where it goes. All right, this next one is by an author that, like, I've only enjoyed their works, honestly. I know they have a book coming out, I think next year. I'll probably get it. That's why I said I couldn't go on a book buying ban. Just significantly reduce the books that I'll be purchasing, because there are some books I'm looking forward to. I'll probably make a video and let y'all know the books that I'm looking forward to that are coming out in 2025. If y'all are interested in that, drop it down in the comments below. But this is Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This one reads, 15-year-old Kambili and her older brother Jaja lead a privileged life. They live in a beautiful house in the city of Enugu, Nigeria, and they attend an exclusive missionary school. But their home life is anything but harmonious. Although their religious father is a respected businessman, at home he has impossible expectations of his children and wife. She doesn't disappoint. This next one, I've heard a couple fellow booktubers discuss it, and they've said good things. So I'm hopeful. Again, another slave narrative, so I'm not sure how soon I'll get to it or how quickly I'll get through it. Because it's not even also just slave narratives. You know, sometimes for me it's hard when people are just going through so much trauma and pain. Like right now, I'm reading The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve Dew, and it's just hard. It's just hard, which means like I have to slow it down, and I'm reading other books that are lighter to kind of keep me level. But neither here nor there. I do hope this book is really good, all things considered. But it is A Woman of Endurance by Dalma Llanos Figueroa. The cover is nice. Is the juxtaposition between what you see of her sitting and what's in the mirror or the painting is intense. It's definitely giving the painting, you know, from the, if you've seen it, from the older gentleman who his back has been severely damaged from whipping. You've probably seen it. I'll insert a picture when I'll insert a picture here for you all to see as well. But that's very much what it's giving, very remnant of that. But I wanted this one because this talks about enslavement in Puerto Rico, and I don't feel like we hear about that enough. But this is what it says. A Woman of Endurance is a novel about the journey of Paula, an enslaved African woman on a sugar plantation in 19th century Puerto Rico. After an attempted escape from a world of slave breeding and a brutal beating, Paula awakens to a new plantation, Hacienda Las Mercedes. Here, the reader follows her into the nuanced, complex, and supportive world of a community in which she learns to recognize and embrace the many faces of love, a mother's love, a daughter's love, a sister's love, a love of community and family, and finally, the self-love that she must experience before she can offer herself to another. I'm very intrigued to see where this will go. I have great memories of Puerto Rico. Shout out to my Boricuas. And, you know, just, we don't always talk about the history of enslavement in Latin America. And so I'm very, very intrigued by this one. That is my book. That is my literary fiction, historical fiction book haul. I have a few more hauls coming for y'all before this month is over. You know, I'm trying to get them all out in December. So y'all will be seeing me again soon. But as always, I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I'm excited for where the channel will go in 2025. So tell a friend to come join and subscribe. It's only up from here. But until the next one, as always, I am MsMalcolmHughes, the one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. And as y'all see the rest of 2024 through, please remember to give time to be kind to yourself and others, and to have the very best day of your life every day, every moment, every second, on purpose. That's it. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace. Odabo. Adios. Ciao.